everybody. I don't know if it was recording.
I think it is now, yeah.
Today we're going to talk about conflict resolution. We are sitting on the porch swing, so if we rock and make you nauseous, we're sorry. Um, I'm going to set the intention today that you would hear this information, that it would help you in your relationships, both personal and professional, that you would be able to take this information, use it for your highest and best good, to do your conflict resolution, to learn about conflict resolution, and to approach it in a positive way. So that's our intention for the show, is to help you with conflict resolution. So,
And personally, I am an expert, not necessarily in the resolution part, but in the conflict. I am definitely PhD worthy. I've had a lot of conflict in a lot of relationships.
me too.
I have learned a couple tips and tricks throughout the years, some of them easier than others. So today we're going to, I think, just share some of the things that we've learned about conflict in lover relationships in particular, partner relationships.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, first of all, you're going to have conflict. You're not going to get out of it. It's going to come, whether it's personal or professional. Today we're going to focus more on the personal conflicts in your relationships, but you're going to have conflicts. As Ruth's shirt says, no doubt about it. So one of the things that I'd like to start with is to remember that it will come. That's important. But when it does come, you get to choose how you respond to it. And that's in all things in life. But with conflict especially, if you respond in a stressful manner or if you respond in a negative manner, that's going to set the tone for how the conflict is resolved. So what we're wanting to help you do is to take a breather, have some time and space if you need it. I'm one of those people that when I'm in a conflict situation, especially in a relationship, I need some time sometimes to get my thoughts together. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just kind of get my alone time and think to myself, why am I having a hard time with this? What is it that I don't like about it? What is it hurting? What is it challenging in me? And then I think I can kind of calm myself down to a point where I can actually approach the conflict and have a discussion about it with my partner. So,
Yeah, I mean, she's right in terms of that. There's always going to be conflict, but I've found, first of all, it's not so much what I do uh, in reaction to the conflict. It's about what I don't do. At least it has been for me. One of those things is not allowing that person the time and space to really kind of think about it. When you're heated in their moment, you're having a discussion, as my parents call it, or an argument, or all-out fight.
Or
Long talk. What you want is instant answers, and that doesn't that's not worked for me very well. Either way, I've demanded instant answers, instant. Let's get through this thing. We're gonna, we're not going to bed mad.
See, you're one of those kind of people, and I'm the
Yeah.
kind of person that says, "Hey, whoa, slow down. I need a minute."
Right, which is what I've learned about myself is that whole get through it right now, instant conflict resolution doesn't work. It doesn't even work for me, and I'm the one who demanded it.
Right.
It just makes the situation escalate. It makes it worse. So, walking away, taking a breather, letting it go for a while, all of those things I've had to learn to do, and those are very good things. And my time schedule of when I want to talk about it isn't necessarily her time schedule and when
Right.
she's ready to talk about it, and I have to honor that. Another thing that is really big, and one of our viewers posted a link, and it reminded me of this, is my tendency to always want to be right. I want to be right.
No.
I'm right. You're wrong. If you just see it my way, then we'll be good. If you just see it my way, we're fine, right?
Right.
So what's there to fight about? And so I would spend my time repeating, convincing, persuading, arguing, defending.
That was my big problem. Defending.
Just going all over the place and trying to get them to see that if you just see it from my perspective, then we're all going to be good.
Right.
It doesn't work that way either. Did you want to say something?
Well, I think we need to just kind of give a few pointers on how to deal with it. And I guess, looking at it in a positive light, trying to see if is it mirroring anything. And we spoke about that, I think, in episode 2 or 3, about the mirroring And it's important to look at that and see, is there something in you? I know when I'm in a conflict situation, especially with a partner, sometimes it's because they're yelling. And as a kid, I was yelled at all the time. So I'm instantly defensive. And I don't even hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
instantly defending myself, and I'm not even sure against what. So, because it's a yelling thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, take the time and space to back up and see what it is about the conflict.
And fear of judgment.
And fear of judgment is another huge one. I know Ruth and I both are dealing with it and kind of really working on it, working through it. And it's always going to be there. It's our reaction to it that we're working on changing. So, and these videos are helpful.
So excuse us while we group process in front of you.
Right.
But I will point out here too that one of the things that I did that helped me tremendously was therapy. I mean, counseling.
Absolutely.
Really helped me, because one major thing that I needed to learn to do. Well, basically, it's sort of funny, because I want other people to accept me for exactly who I am, exactly at that moment, however I am at that moment. But I'm not willing to do that for them, because they're wrong and I'm right. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I had to learn. I had a lot of repressed anger, a lot of repressed rage, sadness, hurt from childhood stuff and adult stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do a lot of work on me. I still do. I shouldn't say I had to, but
we all do.
That
we all do.
And I had to do a lot of work on me, a lot of counseling and therapy, learning how to express my anger in particular. For me, was a problem in a healthy way, instead of at my partner. Taking it out on, whether that's directly by calling names, yelling, whatever, accusing, beating up on verbally, or whether that is sideways, like my mom used to do, like making little critical comments, when you're really mad inside, but you're just trying not to express it, and you're just like, well, are you really going to wear that? That sort of thing. Or, you missed a spot over there, by the way, and I had to fix it. That sort of thing.
And that's one of the things in one of your past relationships. You always used to, when you would call me and just be like, we're going at it. You always used to say, her shit's coming out sideways, and I just love that saying, because it's not coming out the right way. It's totally coming out sideways. And when you can see that in your partner, that's another clue or another hint, kind of a nonverbal, if you will, hint that, things aren't exactly, what they mean right then.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with conflict resolution. You really have to listen. And you really have to listen closely, because there are nonverbal cues to pick up on with your partner. There are other cues to pick up on, as far as, has she or he, in some cases, whatever, been really stressed out? Are they tired? Are they hungry? I know when I'm hungry, I am so that Snickers commercial. I'm totally not me when I'm hungry, and I'm like that too when I'm tired. But to look at the nonverbal cues and pick up on those as well. And sometimes I think you just have to come to, once you've looked at yourself, you've taken the time, you've done some of these things that we've quite quickly discussed. Sometimes I think you just need to look at your partner and, is it a problem that even can be resolved? Is it an issue in the relationship that can be resolved? You have to pick your battles. Is this one that you can just let go of? If it's not, if it's really something that's important to you, it's one of your values or something like that, then you need to figure out a way to approach it with your partner, so that you can sit down when you're both not tired or hungry or any of those other things, and really just have a discussion and get across why it bothers you. And that brings up another good point, is don't bring up the past stuff. You're not gonna fix it, unless it's a similar issue. Don't say, well, 3 weeks ago when you were mad at me, blah, 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 and start there, because I can guarantee you won't win that way. Tried it, it doesn't work.
Some people carry a card catalog in their head of every slight, every word and gesture in every conflict that they've ever had, not only with that person, but every person in their entire past. And at some point, that's all going to come out on you, or you're going to take it all out on them. And, that's one thing to learn not to do, is, certainly there are occasions when there's an unresolved issue from the past that needs to be brought to light. But what we tend to do in arguments is we tend to bring up everything that's pissed us off, everything we resent, everything we may have said about 20 times to them, but they just didn't quite get it. So we have to make sure that they get it. And that is just like taking a big 2x4 and just beating them the hell over the head with it. It's like, it's not going to change anything, which brings up the whole issue of change. You know, one of the things to not do is you know, try to change that person. And that's, I think, the root of a lot of conflict in relationships has been because I want her to change something about herself. I want her to change the way she does it, the way she expresses, whatever, whatever. And because I'm wanting her to change that and expecting her to change that, what that does is basically giving her the message that I don't love her the way that she is. And she's doing the same thing to me. Oh, yeah, it's always a two-way street. You know, she's trying to change things about me, and we're having this head-to-head about the same issues. It may come in a different format and maybe slightly different details, but it's always comes down to the same thing. I'd want you to be like this. You're not being like that. And I think a big mistake that we make is that we think that whatever the way that we've found that works for us, that's right for us to be who we are, should be everybody's way of doing things.
Right.
If you don't do it that way, there's something wrong with you. You're wrong. You need to change.
Right.
You know, and so we try to impose our own ways. This can be from the smallest, tiniest ways of folding your socks all the way to the big ways that we view, I don't know, the universe. And we just try to mold that other person so much into trying to do it or see it the way that we do when they really don't. And they might try to please us, you know, or we try to please them. It works both ways, to try to conform yourself or have them conform to you, when in reality what they're doing is they're sublimating it. They're burying it, and it just becomes a long-term resentment.
Which is where bringing up that whole past thing comes in, because
Yeah.
they bury it and think, oh, it's not a big deal, I won't deal with it this time, you know, I can forgive her, I can move on until the next time.
And it's the sideways thing,
Right.
too. Brings up the sideways thing. Well, I think we're going to have a part 2, don't you?
Yeah, I think part 2, we're getting a little long on this video, and we have learned our lesson about going over 15 minutes
Can't
because
do it.
YouTube doesn't like us when we do that.
No, we don't.
So, I think we'll close up this part 1 on conflict resolution. So, if you're still interested in what we have to say about conflict resolution, see part 2.
Absolutely, and thank you for watching. And by the way, I'm having a conflict with my hair. I'm letting it grow out, so that's why I'm like, so, love y'all.
So.
Yeah, yours is great. It just stays there, man.
Bye.
Anyway, bye.